The wind on Gehenna was hot as spent powder. Smelled like it too. As soon as the Vault Hunter's boots tasted dirt, he was off to town to see a sheriff about a bounty. Every respectable town's got itself a saloon. Perfect place to drink down some local knowledge and get the lay of the land. So figured the Vault Hunter.
Greetings, Vault Hunters all across the 6 galaxies. Welcome to the Bordercast. We are live at our usual time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. I'm Mitsu.
And I'm Mayachka, coming to you every week to break down all things Borderlands.
As always, we want to take a minute to thank all of our new listeners on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, and those watching live right now on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, or Steam, and later on the VOD on YouTube. If you are enjoying the program, we would love for you to give us a big old like, follow, or favorite, because it's here. It's finally here. It is Director's Cut Day. Oh, and Surprise. Hey? Oh boy, we have so much to talk about today. We're going to try and blow through all of the quick news, and we're going to go right to talking about it because, and I apologize for this because I'm going to be even more verbose than usual. I got a lot to say, and it's really funny for how little of the DLC I've actually had a chance to do so far. First, Tales from the Borderlands. It's happening. The Borderlands movie. It's happening. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too. Borderlands 3 is free right now on PlayStation Now. Go get it. Keep it forever. It's worth it. It's Borderlands. You're watching. I don't know why you wouldn't have it at this point, but just in case you don't, go get it. Do it. Do it thing. Do the thing right now. Oh boy. All right, Tess. Let's open the floor right away. What have you been doing this past, I don't know, 24 hours, 2 hours in Borderlands?
I have been getting ready for this DLC. We played some like normal game basically earlier this week with you, me, and Triple to try to get some Iridium, and I've been trying to get some more Iridium because I have a lot of Iridium, but I feel like there's never going to be enough. Just saying. So. Yeah, that's basically it. Also, we've been preparing for a cool thing that's happening later this weekend. Also, I've been preparing to play a whole bunch of the DLC right here on the Borderlands channel. I'm going to be streaming later, right here after the Bordercast. It's going to be good. Yeah.
You're just ready to go.
Yeah, pretty much. How about you?
Oh boy. All right. So I wasn't actually sure what I was going to do today because we didn't really have a lot of time between the launch and having to download the launch because there was no preload in this case, and then playing whatever we wanted to play, and then of course coming here on the Bordercast until I got a DM this morning from a very old and a very close friend of mine that some of you may know as a one King Gathalion. And Goth asked me if I would go be an exterminator with him this morning and take out Hemovorus, which I was very happy to do. I haven't had a chance to play with my bud in some time. We played Monday and Tuesday, didn't get a chance yesterday. And I knew some things. I knew some things today, and I'm really glad that I was here for them. We're going to get to that in a second. So we set it up, and finally the DLC launches. It's a pretty hefty download. I think it's about 15 gigs. As of right now, I know this is going to change at some point, but as of right now, I believe Moe's and Amara's COV skins are not yet in the game, or at least not available to everybody yet, but Zane and Flax are. So this is something that people are aware of, and I believe there is an issue as well with the PlayStation 5 version where certain aspects of the DLC aren't downloading properly, so I know they're aware of that as well, and hopefully that will get resolved as fast as possible, because bugs on patch day, bugs on launch day, never a good time. And the people who are the most upset about it, of course, are the people actually making the game. So patience, please. They like make them aware, but do it so respectfully and don't because they know. I promise you, they know. And they'll take care of it as soon as possible. Anyway, back to my story. So we sit down and we're hanging out, doing our things. And I'm like, all right, let's go do Hemovorus. And they've been playing on Mayhem 1. Okay, so we get to Hemovorus, we do it. It was fun, but they're kind of like, oh, well, this isn't so bad. It was Mayhem 1, right? So it's like, all right, we can kind of make this work. I go, okay, fine. Let's do it on Mayhem 11 now. And in their minds at this point, they're thinking, all right, well, how hard can it be? You're just jacking the difficulty, so there's going to be more health. Damage incoming is going to be higher. Who cares, right? We get down there. The pod spawns. Kill the pod. The larva. Kill the larva. The badass. Or the adult. Kill the adult. The badass. Kill the badass. The super badass. Kill the super badass. Supreme badass Hemovorus pod. The pod explodes.
Oh boy.
And who should appear?
Oh boy.
But not just Hemovorus. Spoilers. If you care about the raid, and this is the only spoiler we're going to talk about because I don't think we're talking about Ava's today. Because I didn't get a chance to. I don't know if you did, Tess.
I haven't had a chance. I'm going to be starting completely fresh after Bordercast later today.
Okay. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers incoming.
Who should pop out but Vermivorus the Invincible? And oh boy, they were like, what? Where did he come from? How did this happen?
So nice.
And I'm just, because I knew it was coming, because,
Yeah.
I've played it already. I'm just sitting there cackling, just cackling at the fact that they had no idea that this was coming. And their reaction was they were so happy. And for clarification, like Goth loves Borderlands. He hasn't played it in a while because some of the design decisions he wasn't like 100% on. So I understand that. And, Char's got a lot of things that he's doing too. So he hasn't been playing in a little while. But they're members of the team. And of course, they love Borderlands and Borderlands content. So for them to have this such like viscerally positive reaction to the inclusion of Vermi to this fight, to not only like, you're not only jacking how difficult Hemovorous is, but now you're adding another variable to the mix where now you have to kill Vermi old school style in there as well.
So cool.
I just beaming with pride.
So cool. Okay, so there were a couple of moments when I first played the original game where surprises like that happened and nobody spoiled it for me, and I was very lucky that nobody spoiled it for me, because the feeling when something like that happens is just insane and awesome. So I'm really happy that they got to experience that, and you did as well with them, like through them.
Yeah. It was great. You know what? It's a tough fight. There's a lot going on during that fight. Like a lot going on. I said there were mechanics. You're going to do it and find out there, are mechanics. We got to experience some of the loot. Mm-hmm. There is a Jacobs sniper rifle. The name escapes me right now, but it felt like it had amp damage permanently on every shot, which seemed really cool.
Ooh.
I think it's called the Ionic Disruptor was the name.
Ooh, interesting.
And then there was an Atlas pistol that dropped, and every shot was a rocket. So that was really cool too. And then they have the Company Man mods, which I think I kind of like wink and nudged hinted at last week when we were talking.
Okay.
And what those are, they give you benefits for being manufacturer Legion. So there's one for there's one for Hyperion, Jacobs, Maliwan. So if, like, Tess, you love your Maliwans, you love your submachine guns and things like that. So if you just stick with Maliwan and you use that particular artifact, you're going to get like a flat 40% damage increase. And I think it's like damage increase and reload speed and a couple other benefits on top of the other rolls that it can get.
Okay. Cool. Very cool.
It's so good. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I've only done it twice so far, because it takes like 15 minutes to kill with the group that we had, because they weren't even max level. I should probably specify that too. It scaled. So I'm 65, obviously geared to the teeth, but they weren't, and we still managed to kill it. And they were not max level either. They were 51, 37, 46. They were leveling up as we were doing it, but like this is something that can be done by everybody.
Wow. So cool. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm a little okay, so I want to fight Hemovorous and apparently a second boss. That's so awesome. I really want to fight them today. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, because I think I'm going to end up having to do it solo. I don't know. Like, I might get some people in. I'll be playing on the Borderlands channel, so I'm just throwing that out there. If people want to join me to do it, that'd be cool. But we'll see. I'm curious, like, what the experience is like in a group versus solo. I'm super curious.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'd love to find out that too. Please make sure you bring that to the show next week, because I'd definitely like to hear about it. Because I'm not saying I'm not going to also do it solo, but I'd love to hear what your feelings on it were. Sure. Because and like the two of us are about the same level. Like we're both kind of like that casual hardcore market where like we take it seriously, but not that seriously.
Yeah.
So
we're
like
just not as OP as Lazy Data or Quag or Triple G or any of those awesome guys.
Who is?
Yeah.
And like just for the sake of this, because I was just perusing the directory here, I'm looking at everybody's numbers. I'm like Jolt's highest I've ever seen him in a long time. Killer 6 highest I've ever seen him. Moxie, over 1,000 people watching him right now. My boy, I'm so proud of him. Liz with 319 at this moment. Char 275 playing Borderlands 3. Lazy's at 300. Eddie Monster 161. Quag 138. Thick 71. Everybody is doing so well. And if the DLC was not good, people would tune in, they'd get their fill, and they'd be out. But I can tell that this is starting to really resonate with people because of all the changes, and we'll talk about that a little bit in the hotfixes, but also because just looking at everybody being so invested in what's going on. I'm looking, B-More's there, Triple G's there, Darkest Dame's there, everybody's there, Mystique Siren's there. Everybody's having such a grand time, and I'm looking at their thumbnails, everybody's doing the boss. Everybody. So it's got to be a hit. I can't say enough good things about it.
Good stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super, super awesome to see. Yeah. I literally did not have any time before we started the Bordercast to even pop into streams because all the things on launch day, as always. But I'm very excited to play later after Bordercast, and I'm excited because I know that, well, I said this when not the last DLC, but when DLC 4 dropped. There was story stuff in DLC 4, obviously, a ton of story stuff related to Maya. And so I was like, I'm going to, start the stream and just go for as long as I feel good. I'll probably stream for like 4 or 5 hours and then get tired, and then I'll do the rest of the story the next day, blah, blah, blah. I streamed for like 12 and a half hours or something because I literally could not stop. So I'm saying today, I'm going to stream for as long as I feel good and then go visit my friends in their streams. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how long that actually is. But I am excited to check out people streaming it later, regardless of when I end, because I know everybody will still be playing, and I'm excited to hear what everybody thinks. But I also have a feeling they're probably gonna love it, which is so cool.
So far, I'm very much feeling like it's universal praise. I don't think I've seen so many people excited about Borderlands content since DLC 4. I think DLC 5 did really well. Designer's Cut had its moments because everybody was excited for Axton and Salvador to come back, but people were a little iffy on how Arms Race felt. And what people wanted was a raid boss. Well,
now
here it is.
One.
You got 2.
Yeah, not 1, but 2. So cool. So cool.
G streamers, your Gearbox lets you have 2 raid bosses?
You asked. They gave, right?
They did. And you know what? The other thing is they delivered on the challenge for it too.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I
awesome.
did not feel like this was a cakewalk. And I played with 4 people. They weren't necessarily like ultra geared or ultra built out. So yeah, but we beat it twice. But was it hard? Yeah, we died a lot.
Okay. So I guess I'm like curious to pick your brain about it, but I also want to just experience it for the first time.
Oh, well, okay. I was about to say.
So I'm like,
I was afraid you didn't want it for them.
No. Well, no. Yeah. It's more possibly for stream, but also I don't know. I guess my question is, are the mechanics like are they similar to the takedowns, or are they like am I going to be able to solo the mechanics is basically what I'm asking.
I'll put it this way. So there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. Is it so much that it's unfair? No. But do you have to watch your feet? Yeah. Is there going to be ad management? I mean, you don't need to, but boy, does it help. Okay. Yeah. So I don't actually know which Mayhem Vermi unlocks at, because we just jumped from 1 to 11.
Okay.
But I at least can confirm that, if it's on Mayhem 11, it's probably on Mayhem 10 too. So at least 10 and 11 will have both of them.
Okay. So I might start with Mayhem 6 just to like get my feet wet and then bump it up to 11. Or I might just go for 11. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll let chat decide. Always let chat decide, because chat knows. Give the people what 11. They want. Okay. Good to know. Cool. All right. I'm excited. I'm excited for the story missions too. I won't lie. I'm very excited to hopefully get to know and find some respect for Ava. I already have some because poor girl literally grew up in a sewer. She's dealt with a lot, but I want to see her like grow up and mature, and I'm really hoping these story missions bring that. We'll see. The Maya in me wants to see her blossom. Right, so we'll see. That I'm very excited for. Also, I'm so psyched for the behind the scenes stuff. I hope that people are okay with me showing that on stream. I don't know. I don't think that's really spoilery. We might even do that before we do the story.
The one that we do have, because we do have one to present to everyone. The one that they tweeted out, because I don't want to obviously put up anything else, but the one that they tweeted out, I had a chance to watch it, and I watched it again right before we went live. It's really good. I wish it was in the game, because that makes me feel so differently about Ava. It humanizes her in a much more necessary way. And like, because I have dead parents, spoiler. So I like those feelings that she's conjuring up, the way she goes about expressing herself, like the emotion, like I felt that, you know, and that's not something I got almost at all from Ava over the course of the game. You know, it was just figure it out, Lil, and it's like, all right, stop. But when she's talking about how upset she is and how like this book, well, you know what? I'm gonna shut up about it. Tess, do you wanna just jump ahead and roll it for the people?
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
We can talk about it. Absolutely.
Not sure if this is gonna be muted. Give me 1 second. Oh.
I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy my delicious water while we're waiting. But I am also watching both chats. I'm glad that there were people who enjoyed Arms Race as much as I did. That actually was really good too.
Didn't you report on the EchoNet?
Let's see, what else? A pre-sequel-esque Borderlands spin-off with new Borderlands 3 engine and physics. I mean, I'm always for more Borderlands, so whatever the case may be, I'm down for that.
Oh, Maya. No. There's no way.
Make sure to check out the full 6-minute Maya funeral scene on the BTS library.
Trying to get Lilith wasn't enough.
I will.
It wasn't her.
But I will make sure to have Kleenex because I feel like I'll need it for obvious reasons.
His own sister. Fascinating. I wonder if that interferes with Maya's intent.
That's right. Stay hydrated.
Patricia.
Stay hydrated, kids.
Damn it. I should have dealt with those parasites. I should have been down there at the vault. It should have been me. Don't be silly. What good would you have done?
Nothing. I was there. I saw it. I watched them turn my only friend into dust. Maya was one of the most powerful people in the universe. They just...
Ava.
You're not the Firehawk anymore, Lilith. There's nothing you could have done.
Yet.
She's gone, okay? This is all that's left of her. This is all I have left.
That's so good. Oh my god. Okay, so jeez, that's so good. These storyboards are so good, and I'm really glad that my makeup is waterproof. They warned me this time. They warned me. It was not waterproof when I played DLC 4, and yeah. So damn it.
So like there's oh boy.
Yeah.
It's like just listening to her, you feel that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the stuff that like I feel like is what humanizes Ava and so the reaction to her, like I feel like it's really, really hard when it's like reading a book and then going to see the movie. Right? Like one person reads the book and then goes to see the movie, and then another person just goes to see the movie, right? And then like there's always more to the book because there's like in-depth moments like this that are in the book. And you can't separate, like when you know a character or when you get to know and meet a character and experience their adventures in whatever universe, you kind of can't separate like one version of that character from another. You know, the experience you have of the movie is informed by the book, right? So I feel like for the people that worked on the game, I mean, Graham said this when we did the interview, like in their minds, all of this is canon. Because this is how they know these characters. So I totally get why to them it was strange at first that people weren't happy with Ava or just in general, like people felt the way that they felt about her because they didn't feel that way. They knew the backstory, but we didn't, right? So it's so cool that they're sharing all this stuff. I'm so excited to watch it. I'm so excited for all of you guys to see it because I think it's revolutionary. Not a lot of developers do anything like this. I mean, you've seen stuff like this for movies before behind the scenes, but in video games, almost never, and I don't think ever to this kind of depth. So I just think it's really brave and really awesome, and I'm so glad they're doing this. They're opening this incredible door for everyone. So I'm excited to see it, and I definitely think it'll open people's eyes about that character and also more backstory, which is cool.
I agree. And as a companion point to that, it's worth pointing out that over at Borderlands.com, they posted a blog post yesterday where the lead co-writer of Borderlands 3, Sam Winkler, actually did a bit of an interview kind of segment where he explained some of the stuff about the director's cut and some of the expanded parts of this scene that we just talked here. And one of the first questions that was asked was, how does it feel to know that the Borderlands community can now see this scene as you originally envisioned it? So that kind of goes hand in hand with exactly what we're talking about right here. And Sam said, it's admittedly bittersweet since it's hard to work on a story without falling in love with it, and that some things inevitably will have to be cut. But I'm extremely happy that players will now get to see these moments. And I wish more games had the chance to include those DVD extras behind the scenes content, because without it, players rarely get to see the development process in its rough and raw form, warts and all, as he puts it. And for the director's cut, they went back and looked at what had been intended for Maya's funeral sequence, for example. They worked with animator Hill Gavin and the original voice actors, which is pretty cool that they came back to do this too, to bring the scene up to our standard of internal storyboard animatic. So pretty much every cutscene in Borderlands 3 went through the same process, which allowed them to prove out sequences that can look very different in a text-only script format. And it was a lot of fun getting the actors back because they wear these characters so well and immediately understood the intent and the weight of the scene, which, listen to Ellie, go listen to it again, listen to Lilith, listen to Ava, and how they interact with each other. It's very clear how they're feeling and how they're being impacted by this news. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. The voice acting is such an incredible thing. It lends so much weight and emotion to just words on a page, and so it's amazing that they were able to do that. I absolutely am glad that they did. This next question is like a heart.
Do it. Go for it.
During development, when was the decision made that Maya would die? What were those initial conversations like? And so Sam said, Maya's death was built into the plot of Borderlands 3 very early on, before co-lead writer Danny Homan and Sam, even came onto the project in 2016. At the time, the leadership team was developing the high-level arc, sketching out the plot structure from planet to planet. The early goal was to cement the Calypsos as having a terrifying new power, the ability to take away siren powers and use them for themselves. It wasn't until later that we introduced the sequence of Lilith losing her powers to Tyreen that kicked off the whole race. And by then, the Maya story beat was solidly locked in. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So it really seemed like the original intent wasn't necessarily to actually have this happen, but somewhere along the way, they realized that there needed to be a little extra weight to it because they took away Lilith's powers. But how do you take that to the next level over the course of the game? Because if it just sucks that Maya had to be the one that had to deal with it. It would have sucked if it was Lilith too. But you have to escalate and raise the stakes as the story goes along. And sometimes that means having a character that people are really invested in getting killed off in order to make people really hate the bad guys. This is all meta thinking. This is all like outside of what you should be thinking about when you're immersing yourself in a story. But this is how you tell a good story. You have to raise the stakes emotionally to keep people invested in what's going on. Yeah. And again, I know, Tess, you don't like the fact that Maya had to be the one that was chosen, but they seem to have a reason behind it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never gonna like be happy that she died, but I understand. Right. The next question that got asked was were any other major characters considered to be slain by the Calypso twins, or did it always have to be Maya?
Oh, this question's gonna be rough for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, let's answer it first. The sequence in the vault on Promethea was always going to end in Maya's death, simply because of the nature of the moment. The Calypsos had to become more powerful at the expense of the Crimson Raiders. At certain points in development, there were other Calypso casualties later on in the storyline, but I'll leave those to the imagination. So we could have lost more people, and we didn't, so we're lucky. Yeah, I mean, this has happened before in other games, in other favorite stories. Do I like it? No, but I understand it. I mean, one of the most successful writers and TV shows of our time, I guess, is the Game of Thrones, for example, right? And I read those books like a really, really long time before there was ever a TV show, like when I was a kid. And I remember when one of the first main characters died, it was very confusing for me because this writer writes like from people's perspective, from characters in the book, right? So he picks like 3 or 4 per book, and then he writes like big sections, like acts of the book from that character's perspective. And so you think, okay, this is like a main character, you like love them, you get to know them, and all of a sudden you just chops their head off and they're dead. And you're like, what just happened? It's completely insane. And I had never read a book like that before, and I was so shocked, but it was so emotional, and it made me like the book even more. Even though it was like it was shocking. It was very shocking, and I'd never seen a writer do that with a main character. But it's I later read a description of his books and how like writers have to make choices in terms of what happens to move the plot along, to make the people experiencing the story, whether it be in a video game or a book or a TV show or a movie, feel something. Because that's why we watch all this stuff to begin with, right? It's to make our eyeballs happy, because pretty scenery, right? Pretty people, pretty scenery, pretty everything. And to make our hearts happy, or at least interested by experiencing all these different emotions, right? So do I like that they killed off my favorite character? No. Do I understand it? Yes, I understand it. And I really love that they brought her back in the way that they did in the Krieg DLC and DLC 4. I think they absolutely did honor to the character in the best way possible. She's still alive in Krieg's mind. You can literally go and say hi to her. She's still alive in the book and in Ava, right? And I think the only thing for me that was left, that was missing, was this like greater understanding of Ava, because like Maya believed in her, so I want to like her, but it was hard to like her. I didn't hate her, definitely nowhere near as much as I hated the Calypsos. They super achieved that. They wanted me to hate the Calypsos. Okay.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, super accomplished. But I also didn't like love Ava, and I want to. So hopefully that's what this does. And like even just that one minute and 35-second clip that we showed you guys absolutely makes me understand her more and like her better. So I'm just really excited for the whole DLC. I'm literally gonna be playing it like right after we're done with Bordercast, right here on the Borderlands channel. So yeah.
Nice. You were talking about how you feel about things. This is very good, because that's actually a question that they asked Sam here. What did you want players to feel for Ava in this scene, for Lilith? So Sam says the first scene aboard Sanctuary 3 is about pain and powerlessness. Ava's young, but she has a lot of experience with feeling lost and alone, which is something you and I have talked about extensively here on the show. Maya is the closest that she's ever gotten to having a family. So after that initial shock is gone, her first reaction afterwards is anger. At Maya for being gone, at Lilith for trying to help, at herself for believing that things could have actually gotten better. Meanwhile, Lilith is still grappling with her own idea of herself as a leader. She's lost her powers, and now she's lost a really close friend. As the leader, she takes the weight of responsibility on her shoulders, even though Maya expressly asked her to stay on the ship, which, you know, we've debated that one back and forth ad nauseum here too. And I know the community has as well.
Yep.
The second scene on Athenas is ultimately about trust. Once the emotions have finally cooled, the two of them are able to reach out and admit their fears to each other. And in her eulogy, Lilith admires Maya's ability to see things in people that even they can't see. Afterward, she and Ava reconcile over Maya's trust in the both of them. Because without her around, they have to hold themselves true to what she saw in them. Lilith can't replace Maya. She can't be brought back. But Lilith can offer Ava the same family that Maya did. And it's up to Ava to accept that offer and surpass that fear of abandonment that led to her lashing out previously. So is that right there, that's the scene. That's what we really, really, really needed. That you, and I understand why I could have gotten cut, because I think it's about 6 minutes. Chat was saying I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Yeah, I haven't.
But,
I'm gonna wait until I see it in game.
Exactly. And so 6 minutes of doing a cutscene like that, or having even an in-game thing where no action is happening and you're at a funeral, I understand why that, unfortunately, over the course of a development cycle can be cut, because that's very intrusive. And I know the speedrunners are probably happy about that, because like, imagine the speedrunners having to sit around for 6 minutes at a funeral, even though for the rest of us, we're like lore junkies. So of course we want to do that. It really gives a lot more depth and weight to Ava as a character, that if this is true and they're holding this as canon, that's going to be huge for her character, like immensely huge for her character. I think it'll turn a lot of people around. And again, I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know, but just listening to what Sam is saying about it, I think, you know, there's an opportunity here for, and this isn't the perfect word, but I'm going to use it, and I'm going to put it in quotes here, redemption, if you will. Again, not a perfect word, but I think a lot of people might agree with that assessment.
Yeah, I prefer to think of it as like growth for the character that earns the respect of the fan base that she wasn't able to have before, because they didn't know her well enough. You know, it's like, I mean, there's so many reasons why I think Ava got hate that she didn't really deserve. And it's funny because a lot of the reason people didn't like Ava is because she had a negative reaction to Maya's death, right? Like a real human reaction. She got angry, she got upset, she lashed out, blah, 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 right? And she did some stupid things as a teenager. And then all of us collectively as a community had a similar reaction. Okay. And it's funny because people hate on her for that, but like it's human. It's what happens, you know, like who of us was a perfect teenager? Not me. Not anybody, I don't think. Yeah. I don't think such a thing actually exists. But it's not supposed to. Everybody goes through growth, right? And so I think adding all of this, like having the actors come back for voicing these storyboards, really gives us that experience of seeing her growth and seeing the depth to the character that we didn't previously see. And it's really, really, really cool that they did that.
Yeah. So in the storyboard, we got to see very quick glimpses of Krieg and Zero, who have plenty of experience fighting alongside Maya. What's going through their minds during this funeral scene? And of course, the first thing Sam says is what we all expect. Zero's a fairly buttoned up character, but he respects a warrior above all else. Maya was a fierce vault hunter who went through the same trials that he did back on Pandora. So for him, the moment is about honoring her in the way she would have wanted in an Athenian ceremony. Krieg, however, is a tough one. It's Krieg. What do you expect? Those who know their history from Borderlands 2 and the meat bicycle built for 2 short will immediately understand that Krieg is hit by Maya's death, of course, hardest of all. On Pandora, we're able to hear echo logs of the progress Krieg has been making in balancing out his 2 personalities. It was in large part Maya's trust in him that pushed him to be better himself. And when she died, he felt that he might be unfixable. But as we learned in Psycho Krieg for the Psycho Krieg and the Fantastic Fustercluck Explores, even the dead live on in the memories of those who remember them. Which is what you've been saying all along.
Yeah. Yeah, Psycho Krieg and the Fantastic Fustercluck.
You did it too.
Yeah, it's honestly like until this DLC, which I have not yet played, so I can't judge it. It is the best DLC for any video game that I've ever played ever. Like I love it. I think it adds so much to the story, especially for my favorite characters, obviously. So it's one of my favorites, but. I'm super excited for this DLC because I want to get to know Ava better. I'm so excited for this behind the scenes stuff. I really love that they did this blog post because it gives an even deeper perspective into what they were thinking, right? And that's really cool of them to do, to open up and be that sort of vulnerable and transparent with us. I think it's really, really, really neat.
Yeah. My only gripe is that I wish Sam was on here to talk about it too.
Yeah, this is an interesting question. How was the storyline of Psycho Krieg and the Fantastic Fustercluck impacted by Maya's funeral scene, ultimately not making it into the base game? As players watching the scene might guess from his presence, Krieg was intended to appear in the base game during the Promethea storyline. Cutting him from the sequence left only the Pandora Echo logs, along with Maya's now final conversation with him. Don't worry, big guy, I'll be back, I promise. Hitting far more painfully than was intended when written. So when we started working on DLC 4, we knew that we had to address Maya's central importance to him without retreading the already brilliantly executed story of loss and Tiny Tina's assault on Dragon Keep from Borderlands 2. It pushed us to show Maya not just as an object of grief, but as a person that still lived inside Krieg who could persist and grow, which is so cool. It's so cool, like, that they did that. I mean, I feel like sometimes things happen and it all, like, the pieces fall in a certain way, and sometimes it just ends up being really good. And in this particular case, that DLC ended up being perfect. And it worked out really well, I think.
And we got a lot of nice backstory on Krieg's history, too.
Yeah. God, I want to go play that DLC all over again right now.
Nobody's stopping you. Well, the only one who's stopping me actually is me, because here I am talking like an idiot. And you're like, all right, Mitsu, shut up. Just let's finish the show quickly, which we can't, because as much as we're enjoying this blog post, there's still more to talk about. We still have Hotfixes applied, and there's still movie news too.
Yeah, that's right. Oh gosh.
Oof. So let's plow through it. Let's go.
All right. Are there any other characters you would have liked to see attending Maya's funeral? Good question. I would have loved to bring all the Vault Hunters from Borderlands 2 back for this moment. There was talk of bringing in characters who would have known Maya, such as Sir Hammerlock and the B-Team, Tina, Brick, and Mordecai, but they hadn't been introduced in the campaign's plot yet, and that would have screwed up the timeline. That makes sense. This is another very interesting question. What does it mean for a siren to pass on? Do sirens experience death differently from ordinary mortals? Ultimately, whatever their metaphysical powers may be, sirens are human. They die, whether it's a bullet to the head or a tentacle through the entire torso. That said...
that's a good reference.
Yeah.
Very good.
That said, Borderlands 3 answers a few questions about sirens and poses even more. When a siren dies, they're able to choose either to will their powers to another person or release them into the universe. As both Maya and Nereid mention in different moments, a siren can still feel the connection to the previous owner of their powers, stretching like a braid or a chain back into the past. They can also imbue their memories into objects and heal themselves from otherwise catastrophic injuries using iridium. This is all to say that for sirens, death might be a little more complicated. Cool.
They're space Jedi. That's what I'm learning.
Yeah, I think personally, I speculate that this is foreshadowing for how Lilith comes back eventually, but that is pure speculation, and I'm just guessing.
That's to say that she died. There's no body.
No, I don't think she died at all, but healed
either.
themselves from otherwise catastrophic injuries using iridium. So, like, she's off somewhere in God knows what state, but she still can come back. Right? So yeah, I don't think she's dead. I think that Tannis would not waste time looking for her if she was dead, right? So Tannis is looking for her because she's out there. So, you know
what all I can think of right now, because you raised a good point, because obviously she like flew in a moon. All I can think of is the two astronauts standing on the moon, I wish it was the other way around, like two people standing on Earth pointing to the moon, and the moon had the Firehawk symbol on it. And it was the first one goes, wait, the moon is Lilith? And then the other guy behind him goes, always has been. Because Lilith is essentially the moon right now. How that actually works, we don't know, but you know.
Yeah, that's actually quite true. That's a fair point. We don't know, but I'm excited to see whenever we find out. Who knows when?
Yes. Oh boy. All right, Tess, where do you want to go with this? We've got two more big topics to cover, and we're already at what, 45 minutes, 50 minutes in this show?
Yeah. Well, probably people want to know about the hotfixes. So let's start with that.
So does that mean that we're going to do a very special segment that we often call Hotfixes Applied? There it is. Yes. Excellent. Yes. Oh boy, we got a laundry list of hotfixes to talk about here. All right, let's do this. Today, they released an update and hotfixes for Borderlands 3, which will be live on all platforms by 12 p.m. PST, which Goth was comically worried about earlier. He's like, Mitsu, is it gonna be out on time? I don't know. Ask Noel. Noel, is it gonna be out on time? See, this is why I miss hanging out with my buds, because this is what we do. We just like poop post at each other all day.
So impatient.
I know, right? Well, yeah, that's him. This update adds a whole lot of content for the Director's Cut add-on, quality of life machines for the base game, and additional requests from the community. The full list of additions and changes is below, which we will, of course, talk about now. Yeah. You want to tell them?
Yeah, so there's a lot. New content included in Director's Cut. So this is what you're getting if you purchase the DLC, specifically if you have like the Season Pass 2, if you have DLC 6, if you have the Ultimate Edition that includes everything. You get added support for the new raid boss, Hemovorus the Invincible. Hemovorus has made her lair behind a previously sealed door on Pandora, and Director's Cut is your chance to go toe to pincer with this monstrous enemy. To take on Hemovorus, players will need to complete the main story campaign and own the Director's Cut content. You will receive the raid mission from inside Claptrap's closet on Sanctuary 3. It will cost 500 iridium for your group to open the door, giving you the opportunity for new loot if you succeed. Okay.
So I wanted to take a special second here to just highlight what Tess just said here, because I've seen a lot of people currently on Twitter, a few people on Facebook, and occasionally people on Twitch as we were going through everything, and myself included, wondering how to actually access Hemovorus. And the way to do it is exactly how Tess just said. You will have to go visit Claptrap on Sanctuary 3, who will give you a quest, which then allows you to go beyond the door to then open up another door, which is 500 iridium, to fight Hemovorus, and if you're on higher mayhem levels, Vermivorus the Invincible. Spoilers, which we've already talked about it, so it's not really spoilers.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we highlighted that, because that was very important.
Yeah, Claptrap's closet is in like the garage area. Like if you're going to the drop pod, when you come down the stairs, instead you turn right, I believe.
Left.
To go. Left?
Yeah. Well, so, okay, so let's say you just, if you're going, okay, so if you come down the stairs from the right-hand side, it'll be right in front of you.
Right. Okay.
Because it's on the left-hand side of the ship as you're coming down the stairs. So if you were coming from the drop pod, it'd be on the right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
I'm really bad with directions, so thank you.
That's okay. Yeah. And then it's, I'll put it this way. It's very, very close to where Crazy Earl is. So if you go check out Crazy Earl's reroll machine, you can stop by and talk to Claptrap very close, because it's right there as well.
Yeah. If you guys are having any issues, by the way, I just put the link in chat, but you can just go to support.2k.com to submit a ticket. The best thing that you can do to get the fix as quickly as possible is to explain exactly what's going on, include a video, include a screenshot, make it easy for support to reproduce your problem, because they can't fix it if they can't reproduce it, right? They have no way of seeing what's going wrong. So just support.2k.com, try to give them as much information as you can, and then please be patient. Launches are like the toughest thing that developers, I think, probably go through. That's my guess. Everybody wants everything done like right now. And there's a million different people, with a million different setups and a million different everything. And it's just the way complex software launches tend to go. So just please, please, please be patient, submit a ticket, try to give them as much information as you can, and they will help and they will get it sorted as soon as possible. Okay, so support.2k.com. That is where you submit a ticket. You can always type !support in the Twitch chat to get that link also.
And we're gonna circle back around after we finish Hotfixes Applied, just so we can discuss one more time some of the known issues, because I know some people are still joining and some people are pretty heated, understandably so, about some of the issues they've been having. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that you are being listened to and that your concerns are valid and that these issues are being worked on. Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think there's support for something else, isn't there, Tess?
Yeah, Ava's murder mysteries. Ava is convinced she has a lead on some potentially supernatural slayings and has decided to document her findings in serialized podcast form. Oh, podcasts. They're so fun.
Who would do that?
Yeah. Anyway, consider yourself her gun-toting co-host as you investigate strange happenings on Pandora, Promethea, Eden 6, and Necrotafeo in search of answers and loot with the help of some familiar faces. I'm so psyched for this. First of all, I love the worlds of the Borderlands. They're all gorgeous and literal eye candy. So running around through them with a cool murder mystery purpose, all for it. Also, the patch added behind the scenes content. This is what we've been talking about. There's a new menu option available to Director's Cut owners. Explore a gallery full of concept art, storyboards, lost maps, and footage from throughout the game's development, including a very special animatic for Maya that wasn't able to make it to Borderlands 3, which is so cool.
I assume that's a reference to the funeral scene.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry. I know this. It's okay. My makeup is waterproof today. And I have tissues. Added support for vault cards and their rewards and implements the first vault card of 3. So for anybody that missed one of the previous Bordercasts when we talked about this with Graham, I super recommend you check out that interview. You can find it in the videos on demand on Twitch. It's available on YouTube. It's available on the podcast. So if you just Google Borderlands podcasts or Bordercast podcast, it's available on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google YouTube Music. I'm sorry. TuneIn, Stitcher, all the things. SoundCloud, of course. Vault cards are a new challenge-based progression system in Borderlands 3 that will unlock a bevy of themed cosmetics plus some supremely powerful gear that scales to your level. The vault cards will have 3 daily challenges and 1 multi-tiered weekly challenge each. The daily challenges will reset at 9 a.m. Pacific or 12 p.m. Eastern every day, and the weekly challenges will reset at 9 a.m. Pacific every Thursday. So the same day as the Bordercast.
Yes.
Cool.
So it's like we talked about before. There are dailies, there are weeklies.
Yeah.
One thing that I did notice, and this is not in here, and this confused me a little bit at first, is there's a new experience bar that pertains to the vault cards. It is a green bar that you will find at the bottom, where you would also find the pink one for your guardian tokens and the yellow one for your generic typical experience bar if you're still gaining experience. So people might see that and wonder what that is. As far as I can understand right now, it pertains to the vault cards. So just be aware of that and keep an eye on it and see what kind of cool loot you can dig up.
Yeah, so we have a person asking in the chat. They say they have to kill 300 with corrosive damage and it's not recording the kills perfectly. So one thing to note, if you think you have a bug, go to support.2k.com and report it. First step. However, just keep in mind, there is an unbelievable amount of math that goes into what actually kills a thing in this game and when the kill happens and like which kind of damage. That's how you get like crazy stacked mayhem and bazillion other kinds of damage. So it might not be the corrosive damage that's making that kill at that particular time. It might be something else that's doing it, right? Because there's like a billion different things that go into that equation. So if it's not perfect, but it's pretty much working, that's probably why. But it could be a bug. So if you think it's a bug, support.2k.com. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right, by the way. If they're, because of how damage works in this game, for example, if you're running with a full elemental build, right, and you're looking to kill something, and you've got the ability to get 50% cryo damage, 50% corrosive damage, 100% incinerate damage, and you've also got radiation on your weapon, and the one damage tick that actually gets the kill is not corrosive, for example, as we were talking about with this vault card, you're not going to get it. That is a bit of a problem. I can understand players getting pretty frustrated about that. So that's a conversation we might need to have. But for now, I would just say, if you're going to do vault cards, the way you can look at it is vault cards will challenge you to do things maybe not necessarily in your norm, which means unequipping certain things like that and then just using straight corrosive damage. Is that optimal? No. Do I think that that's how it should be done? Absolutely not. But if we're looking for guaranteed results and success in the way that the game is currently designed, that's what you would be looking to do. So I would recommend unequipping anything that would give you additional elemental effects, or at least minimizing those impacts, and just focusing on the one element for that particular vault card. That's all I can really say on that for now. That's the best solution.
If you really
I
think you have a bug, support.2k.com. Seriously.
Yeah, and it could be a bug too. It could literally just be an issue with vault cards. So it doesn't hurt to report it. More information is more gooder.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. New content for the Designer's Cut and Season Pass 2. There are 4 new pieces of gear to Arms Race for players with the Designer's Cut. And you know what's really funny? This happened. Everybody was excited about it, and then everybody did the boss. And like, I forgot about it until just now too. So I kind of want to go back into Arms Race now and find out what that is.
Yeah, the Arms Race stuff. Yeah.
There's 4 new pieces of gear in there. So what could they be?
Yeah.
I am very interested to see. Added the Disciples of the Vault cosmetic skin packs for players with Season Pass 2. Each character-specific Disciples of Vault Hunter pack includes a one-of-a-kind Vault Hunter body and matching head, which you can mix and match with any other customization options you have in your collection, which means if you want Moe's Mohawk Moe's, you can have that with any other body type that you would like. Mohawk Moe's, by the way, looks really cool.
Yeah, she does.
And I will stress this again, for those of you who are just joining, or if you might have forgotten when we mentioned it earlier, as of right now, Thursday, April 8th, there is an issue where Moses and Amara's skins, the COV skins, have not yet been introduced in the game. They're aware of it, and they are working as fast as possible. So bear with them. For now, if you are a Zane main, if you are a Flak main, or you just want to try those characters out and see what they look like, those are in the game for you to enjoy.
Yep. There's also new base game content with this patch. Okay, so everybody gets this. You do not have to buy the DLC. If you originally bought the base game and have not purchased any of the DLC, you still get added support for the Maurice's Black Market Vending Machine. Maurice's Black Market Vending Machine is offering different top-tier legendary loot that will be hiding in a new location each week, excluding DLC maps. So this will always be somewhere in the base game. Keep that in mind. This vending machine will relocate at 9 a.m. Pacific every Thursday. So different spot every week.
I want to say this here on behalf of everybody in the content creation community, from all of us to all of you at Gearbox who made Maurice's Black Market Vending Machine possible. Thank you. Because now every single week, everybody is going to boot up Borderlands, go looking for the Black Market Vending Machine, and do a video outlining where to get it and what it has and why people should care. And for us personally, that's huge. Yeah. It's great to have a reason to come back to the game.
Yeah, it's a really, really great replayability feature, and it'll be an adventure to find it every week. It'll be an adventure to see what's in it, all that stuff. So it's great for content creators, but it's just great for everyone, because really it'll be a reason to go on a treasure hunt every week, which is so cool. I love that. I love it.
And I have yet to actually know where it is.
Yeah,
Everybody
I have no
keeps
idea.
asking. Nobody knows where it is right now, but it's out there somewhere.
Go look for it.
I wish I had a concept of what it looked like, even so I would know what to look for.
I'm guessing it looks like that art, which I totally don't have. pulled up
Oh,
anymore, I'm sorry.
that's right. We showed that last week on the show.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So it does look like a vending machine. It just looks like I think it was orange-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so the reroll machine. Okay. So the reroll machine does not move. So the patch added support for Crazy Earl's reroll machine. For 250 iridium, you'll be able to re-roll an existing anointment on any piece of gear. But beware, you can't take it back once you've re-rolled your anointment. This machine will be permanently located near Crazy Earl on Sanctuary 3. Okay, so I wasn't sure if that machine would travel like the market vendor, but it does not travel like the market vendor. It stays put on Sanctuary.
Yes.
Cool.
And a word of caution for everybody using it, and of course for you too, Tess, it's a one-button press. So when you put whatever piece of gear you're looking to re-roll, there's one button you have to hit to re-roll it, which means if you accidentally hit that button more than once, it's gonna re-roll it again and again and again. So pace yourself, because you will run out of iridium very quickly, and you might miss the one anointment that you really wanted.
Yeah. Re-roll carefully.
Very carefully.
Yes. The new patch also opened up the Diamond Armory on Sanctuary 3. And again, this is for everyone. It's not DLC specific. It's just in the base game, which is so cool. Located under the bridge on Sanctuary 3, the Diamond Armory opens a whole room of loot. The room is activated with the use of a diamond key, which they're rare. They're rare rewards that can be obtained through vault cards. So it's basically a whole room that's the loot chest of awesome things.
If you want to see what it looks like, the door to get inside is not locked. The only thing that's locked is the chest, the console essentially for the chest itself.
Okay.
So if you kind of want to go inside and see what it looks like, the door's open now.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah,
yes.
I didn't know that. So that might be the first thing I do, actually. I'm super curious. That's cool.
For those wondering more specifically where it's located, directly, when we say directly under the bridge, we mean directly under the bridge. There was a locked red door that just existed there. That nobody, and we talked about this last week, nobody talked about that door. Everybody talked about the door in Ascension Bluff. But I was always wondering about what's under the bridge. That's where it is.
Yeah. Oh, we have a dev hanging out in chat.
Mario's
Maurice's
here.
vending machine is fun for them too, because they have the power to decide what goes in it every week, which is so cool. Yeah, we talked about that with Graham. They get to pick what's in Maurice's vending machine, and then we get to go find it, and it's so awesome. Like I love that interaction. I love the interaction that we've had with the devs so far, just in general. But that's gonna continue indefinitely, and it's so nice. It's really nice. And you guys, just for everybody that's listening, that's watching, the PS5 issues are being looked into. It's not happening to everyone, but for those that it's happening to, they're on it. We promise they're on it. There's no updates on a time or anything like that, but it's being worked on actively.
And I will reiterate here what Tess has been saying all along, support.2k.com, because now that we're aware now that it's not happening to everybody. What Tess said before about having the most information possible to replicate it so that they can then fix it. That's where you need to be, and that's what you need to be doing, because they can't fix it if they don't know specifically how to isolate what's wrong, and that's where they kind of need your help. So support.2k.com, make sure you're getting those reports in, and whatever information you can provide, I'm sure they will greatly appreciate, and hopefully it gets resolved for PlayStation players as soon as possible.
The PS5 thing is being worked on. The skins thing is also, they're still rolling out. And Amara's and Moses are a smidge delayed, but they'll be there. Just give it time. Please be patient. That's all we ask. Enjoy the stuff that's there if you can, and just please be patient.
Yes. In the meantime, it's time for some gameplay changes. The Rhina, which people were asking about this one, I'm actually glad that this change was made, will now be able to roll with anointments. There you go. Broken Heart State weapons will also be able to roll with anointments as well. I know what people are going to say, oh, too little, too late. It's nice that that's still done. There will be more Valentine's Days. I promise you, there will be more. Or that, vault cards might actually have the ability to have them too. Who knows? There's never been an establishment about what vault cards specifically can. Or what if it was in Maurice's black market vendor?
Yeah.
That's another opportunity to be able to obtain stuff. So, and what did Mario just say? Whatever they want.
Yeah.
Whatever they want.
They could literally put anything in that vendor that they want to, which is so cool. So like, I know Graham said this during the interview, but if like the community is doing something very specific or having, struggles with something specific or what have you, like they can adjust what's in that vending machine for us at will. So it's just very cool. It's very, very cool.
Yes. Updated heavy damage on artifacts, updated heavy damage artifacts to properly increase heavy weapon damage. Well, isn't that lovely? Updated action skill active anointment so that switching from an ASA anointed weapon while the action skill is active benefits from the anointment. Oh, thank you. That was a big one. Addressed a reported concern that all players would not hear the Iridian log in the medical bay after quote-unquote the first vault mission. Updated DLCs 2, 3, and 4 to properly scale with the player's level in true Vault Hunter mode. Updated Iridium jars in Moxie's heist of the Handsome Jackpot to correctly appear for all players. Renamed the Operative's Critical Mass class mod to its proper name, Spy.
Cool.
That's it. Yes.
Cool.
Critical Mass is a new class mod that's in the director's cut. The name was switched along the way somewhere, and this change corrects it.
Yeah.
The Hot Spring Legendary Grenade from the designer's cut now shows the correct textures, and a reported issue that caused down players to stay and fight for your life after being revived in arms race has been addressed. A reported issue that was causing skill points gained during arms race not to be granted properly has been addressed. Added an indicator that players spectating an arms race will happen now after they have died. They addressed noticeable hitching throughout the game when players were engaged in very heavy battles. Updated timed events to grant current event rewards if the player played the previous year. Updated Captain Haunt to prevent him from staying invincible if his phylacteries, what a word, were destroyed too quickly, which was a problem. I remember that was brought up last year and the year before. Players will not see this change, of course, until Bloody Harvest returns. There are hotfixes to the game permanently that have been changed, and added a quick change station to the takedown at Maliwan Black Site and the takedown at Guardian Breach. Praise Jeebus! That's a great change. Great change.
Yeah, that's really, really, really cool. There are some Vault Hunter changes. Okay, so updated Mose the Gunner's Harmonious Havoc ability to award the proper amount of damage after entering Fight for Your Life. Cool, more damage for Mose. I like that. Updated Amara the Siren's Phase Grasp skill. I cannot speak English today. To correctly activate when doing damage in situations where it cannot grab enemies, like bosses. Oh, very handy. Yeah. Updated the Siren's Phase Flare Orb to activate properly when aiming at the ground using an action skill and switching weapons at the same time. Very cool.
So I had a problem with Amara earlier this week where the orb would sometimes get stuck in the ground, and even after I tried to pull it back to me, it would not come out. I'm wondering if this addresses that issue. Or if that issue is more widespread than just me. I actually don't know. Oh yeah, I played Amara this week too. It was fun.
Yeah. I can't say that I've run into that issue, but if you still see it, guess where you need to go, Mitsu?
Is it support.2k.com?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Absolutely.
Yep. They modified the Siren's Remnant skill projectile to have its own damage source. Updated the Remnant skill to only allow gun and action skill damage to pass through in a Remnant orb to match the item card. Updated Flack, the Beastmaster's command bot class mod, commandlet class mod. I can never read these. To trigger on bullet, melee, and skill damage. Updated the Beastmaster's Ion Loader pet to follow moving enemies when using the eye laser attack. Cool. Updated the Beastmaster's Bad Astra skin in the quick change to use the correct icon. Oh, cool. Okay, I was wondering about that because I love that skin so much.
It's a
the
really
actual
good
best.
skin for every character.
Yes, the Bad Astra skin is literally my favorite. I throw it on all of my one life characters because I could just like put it on everything and not worry. It's just great. It's just good. Yeah. That's it. Platform specific changes. PC updated the friends list on epic versions of Borderlands 3 to not display friends that do not exist. That's handy. Consoles updated the edge detection for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, addressed a reported issue in split screen that was causing some art and text to cross over into the bottom screen, updated icons to display properly in the echo map in split screen, updated the operative's double barrel skill to show the full effect in split screen. Cool, so split screen changes. PlayStation addressed a reported issue that was causing the Tales from the Iridian Slab and Master of All You Survey trophies to sometimes not unlock. Players have completed these requirements should have the trophy awarded next time they play Borderlands 3 after updating. Addressed a reported issue that was causing Guardian rank to reset when transferring save data between PS4 and PS5. Added a screen to obscure shift menus on PlayStation 5 when streaming. Cool. Addressed a reported issue that was causing some players to be unable to search for other players after starting matchmaking. Addressed various system errors that would sometimes display when PlayStation 4 players had slow hard drive on. Addressed a reported issue that was sometimes causing player character level and map location to not be shown in multiplayer. Okay, cool.
I just wanted to go back to the top one at PlayStation because that's the big one. Addressing a reported issue that was causing Tales from the Iridian Slab and Master of All You Survey trophies to sometimes not unlock. That's so big. One of the biggest consistent complaints that I had heard about Borderlands 3 on PlayStation was that perfectionists, achievement hunters, all those kinds of people, wonderful people, could not actually platinum Borderlands 3 because the last trophy or two would not unlock. So finally, we bring you the good word. You can platinum Borderlands 3 now. Or at least,
Very
God, I
cool.
hope so.
Yeah, very, very cool. And then we've got some Xbox changes. Addressed a reported issue that was causing some Xbox users to be unable to join their friend's game from an invite while the game was not open. Addressed a reported issue that was allowing some Xbox players to continue playing online without an active Xbox Gold subscription. Improved server consolidation on Xbox. Cool.
Excellent.
And it should be live. All this stuff should be live across all platforms now. Just make sure that you get your hotfixes applied to show up when you're in the menu when you first load in, and make sure you download the update and etc. If you have an issue, go to support.2k.com. There's an additional hotfix, and this is actually a big one. Adjusted the world drop rate while players are using mayhem levels.
Okay. People have requested this for a long time, so I'm going to run through this, and then I'm going to tell you what the general sentiment has been so far by how much it actually has been. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. World drop loot rates were as high as they were. And I know this because I had conversations with Graham, I had conversations with Anthony. The reason that they were that high is because we had anointments in the game. Okay? Anointments were designed to be kind of like the new pearlescent, if you will. And so the design philosophy was, if you just keep getting legendaries thrown at you, you'll eventually get the one that you're looking for, which is why it was the way it was. That was very frustrating and somewhat confusing for a lot of players. That is why we have the Iridium rerolling machine for Crazy Earl. So now you can reroll your anointments. One of the nice side effects of this is because we are cutting down substantially on the amount of legendaries, or I'm sorry, on the amount of anointments that you can get, because now you can reroll them. You can now cut down the amount of loot that drops too, because you're only really looking for that god roll. You're looking for that Maggie that's got a ridiculous amount of damage on it. You're looking for that flipper that's got max damage on it. You're looking for what is considered the best roll for that gun, because now you know that all you have to do is get 250 Iridium, or probably more because Crazy Earl's crazy, and bring it to that machine, push the button, and re-roll the anoint. That's it. So, with that being said, the live team decided, and this is based on conversations with content creators I had before the stream went live. Everybody's saying it feels like and it looks like at Mayhem 10-11, drop rates were cut in half. That is an immense number, because we were, what, 1,000%, 3,500% increase on drop, and now you're cutting that way down. The game is going to feel a lot more in line with Borderlands 2, which is something that people were asking for. And when you do get a legendary, it's going to feel that much more unique. And for those who may be wondering, this was a very specific question I needed to know about, clarified about it. This will not affect drop rates on targeted characters. So if you go to Road Dogg, for example, and you're looking for a Hellwalker, that has not been affected at all. The drop rate of a Hellwalker off of Road Dogg has remained unchanged. This is gigantic. Everything that people who love those targeted farm grinds, what they wanted that more Borderlands 2 authentic experience. This is it. You got what you asked for, and honestly, I couldn't be happier either.
Yeah, and the devs say it was a significant drop in the drop rates. So that's a really, really massive change that a lot of people have really wanted. There was a reason it couldn't happen until now, but now we're getting so much of what we wanted. It's so awesome. Like, thank you so much to the devs. Huge thank you for how incredibly hard they've worked, not only to bring us all of this awesome content and all of these awesome changes in this patch, but doing it from home, doing it in the middle of a crazy like storm and power losses and like whole apartment losses and all sorts of madness. They have been unbelievable troopers throughout the last like year and a half, and just come through so much for us. So if there are any lingering issues, you guys, just a reminder, support.2k.com, and please be patient. Everything is being worked on if there's a problem, but we're so grateful for this amazing DLC.
Somebody pointed out to me, I think earlier this week, that one of the nice side effects too of having the reroll machine is inventory management. Because now you can go into your bank, for example, and whatever is considered the god roll for that particular gun you have, you can just take it down to the Iridium, re-roller and just get the anointment you want. You don't have to sit there and hold on to 37 different variations in case things change so drastically that you need a different anointment. You just re-roll it for whatever is the flavor of the month for that particular situation. You have to, you can do it that way now. So a lot of people were asking for even more bank space, which I'm still going to ask for too, but
for hoarders,
it's not going to feel as constrained. Yeah, for hoarders, exactly. That's right, Tess.
Yeah, I mean, we play looter shooters. We are hoarders like nothing else. It's kind of like, this is a thing that anybody that carries like a small bag will probably attest to, whether it be like a purse or like any kind of backpack, anything. My thing with any kind of bag is it doesn't matter how big it is, if it's like tiny or it's a ginormous backpack, I will fill it. Like no matter what, it will be full to bursting. If it's a bag that I own, it will be full to bursting. That's just the way it is. And this is true, I think, of gamers that love items and that gravitate towards looter shooters because there's awesome loot and we just want to hoard all of it like crazy dragons on their loot piles. So there will never be enough space, but you can get rid of more of your like duplicates this way and you will actually have more effective space because of that. So just so you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there you go. Those are all the changes that are coming down now. As I said before, there are some issues. Skins, PlayStation 5 still struggling with a few issues. They are aware and they're working on it as fast as they can. And I know there are probably a few more. That's going to be how patch day goes. There is no such thing as a perfect successful launch. I think we all can take a look around the industry lately and be like, oh yeah, you right. And I could cite off the top of my head at least 6 launches from other games all across the industry that did not have great days on their first day. It's part of the business. It sucks. It sucks a lot. It is frustrating. That I can sympathize with. But it will get fixed. That I can promise you. I don't promise nothing. I don't like to.
Yeah.
All right. One more thing we have to get to. Technically, it's 3, but we're going to try and go through them. It's movie time, because apparently they just decided to drop a whole bunch of movie news on us today, too.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So cool.
This one kind of caught me by surprise. Edgar Ramirez is set to play Atlas. Deculian, I think I'm saying that right, Atlas, in the Eli Roth adaptation of the best-selling Borderlands video game Borderlands for Lionsgate. Joining, of course, such notable names as Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jamie Lee Curtis, Ariana Greenblatt, Florian Munteanu, Haley Bennett, and, of course, as our claptrap, Jack Black. In the game, and I don't think he's ever actually in the game, so Deadline, you got that one wrong. Atlas is a business titan and arms manufacturer and the most powerful person in the universe. I don't recall that being the case, but sure.
Maybe he's mentioned in some like tiny description somewhere and we just didn't know about it. It's possible.
The lore junkies are probably pulling their hair like, Mitsu, you're wrong. Please, you can yell at me on Twitter. I will graciously apologize profusely for not knowing this thing, because then I'll know it and I'll feel educated about it and I'll be happy. So this is a good thing. So yell at me on Twitter. Do it right now.
At Mitsu Show, just so you know.
Yes, twitter.com/Mitsu Show. What is it? Eli Roth went on to say, what an incredible honor to have an actor of Edgar's caliber, talent, and charisma playing opposite Cate Blanchett in this remarkable cast. Atlas has to be a truly magnetic personality, somebody with charisma and charm, but that air of menace underneath it all. Sounds like they're talking about Handsome Jack. Jesus. I've been a fan of Edgar's since his early performances, and he continues to amaze me with each dramatic turn. We want to create something wild, fun, and very different from anything that they've ever seen with Edgar before. And Eli says he is so excited to work with him. So that was part 1. Part 2, and this one surprised me quite a bit as well. IGN reported that Dutch bodybuilder Olivier Richters, who I believe is known as the Dutch Giant, the Dutch something, has been cast as the turret-firing boss Crom in the Borderlands movie. Richters is primarily known for his bodybuilding career and his imposing height of 7'2".
Wow.
When they cast Florian's 6'5", okay, which means a 6'5", this reminds me of like WWE. A 6'5" man is going to be looking up at a 7'2" machine. Like, he's gonna have Tina riding shotgun on his shoulders, and they're still not going to measure up to this man's height.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Wild.
Yeah, that's super wild, but also super, super, super cool.
Yeah. And so they didn't have really much else to add on that one, but I thought that was a really cool casting decision. And then finally, this one we might wind up talking about for a minute or two. They've kind of revealed the synopsis for the plot. And this is basically what it is. Lilith, played by Cate Blanchett, is an infamous outlaw with a mysterious past who reluctantly returns to her home planet of Pandora to find the missing daughter of the universe's most powerful son of a bitch, Atlas, played by Edgar Ramirez. Okay. Lilith forms an alliance with an unexpected team, Roland, a former elite mercenary, now desperate for redemption, Tiny Tina, played by Ariana Greenblatt, a feral preteen demolitionist, Krieg, played by Munteanu, Tina's muscle-bound, rhetorically challenged protector, Tanis, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, the scientist with a tenuous grasp at best on sanity, and of course Claptrap, played by Jack Black, the persistently wise-ass robot. These unlikely heroes must battle alien monsters and dangerous bandits to find and protect the missing girl, who may hold the key to unimaginable power. The fate of the universe could be in their hands, but they'll be fighting for something more: each other. Aww.
That's so cool. cool. It's so cool. I like
It's
that.
very sweet.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this. I understand why they did it. Why they were like it's the same. It's not the exact same universe. Like it's kind of a retelling in a separate universe, right? Because it gives them so much more freedom to make good choices for the movie platform they're now going to exist in. I absolutely get it. There's definitely a part of me that was like, I want to see a new story in the universe that we already know and love that maybe gives us a deeper look into what happened before or
That
a
would've
look
been nice.
at the future or something. You know what I mean? But I absolutely can imagine how hard it is, first of all, to stay true to all of the lore. Like if they got something wrong, even if it was something minor, the gaming lore masters that love Borderlands would not be very nice about it. So I understand. This gives them so much more freedom. They don't have to worry about the little things as much. They can just stay true to the spirit of the characters and the beautiful Borderlands universe and showcase it in a new light, tell a new story that's a little bit familiar. And it's still us getting to hang out with our favorite characters some more, right? So there's actually nothing wrong with it at all. So at first I was kind of like, oh, a little disappointed, but then I thought about it and I realized it was actually pretty cool. So
You just sparked something in my brain, which is wonderful because that's why I love working with you. So I thought of a pretty apt comparison. People might agree, they might disagree, but this is just how I see it. Look at the DC universe. Look at the Marvel universe.
yeah.
In comic book universes, it's established more often than not that there are several parallel universes where the characters might be the same, but the stories and the experiences might be different. Borderlands, in this case, is no exception. So while I too agree with you that I am sad that we're not using a different medium to expand more on the story that we have come to know and love, I think the best way to view it and rectify it in my brain, this is just a personal opinion, is by seeing it as like Pandora 2 Borderlands, like Earth 2,
Yeah.
or like
yeah.
Earth 616, or like however you want to put it, because it's our familiar characters, but wibbledy wobbledy timey wimey has changed. So now Tina's encountering them during Borderlands 1. Suddenly Tannis is much older. And like there's all these different things that are happening.
There's also big things as well as little things they can do with it, right? Borderlands Cinematic Universe could have a live, like fully alive Maya. So we haven't heard that Maya will be in this movie at all or anything like that as yet. We don't know if it'll happen, but I'm sure if Borderlands movie 1 does well, this is speculation, but I'm sure that they will want to do another one, right? So I hope they want to do another one. I would love for it to be like as expansive. I would love for them to do a TV show. Oh my God, so many ideas. But I would love to see Maya come back in a TV show or a movie. That would be fantastic, right? And so if they separate it from the game story, then they can do that. They can make big sweeping things happen like that. So when I realized that, I was like, yes, okay, this is good. I want more Maya, please, someday.
And the opportunities are endless.
Yeah.
And who knows if the movie does exceptionally well, you know, you can see all sorts of spin-offs. We talked about Sirens. That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
We talked about, of course, what a sequel might look like. If there is a mid or end credit scene where Handsome Jack, like you don't even see who it is, you just see somebody pick up Jack's mask, I'll lose it. I'll go actual ape shit in the theater. Like it'll get bad. Like popcorn will fly everywhere. I'll have to clean it up because I'm not gonna make them do it because that's fucked up. But like I will actually lose my mind if I see at the end you just see a scene where just you don't see you just see a silhouetted hand and then you see the Jack face mask with the vault symbol on it and you just see somebody pick it up. It'll be bad. It'll be real bad.
Now I want popcorn. Also, I miss going to the movies. Like I'm definitely a stay at home with my cats on my couch kind of moviegoer most of the time. But once in a while, it is nice to go and watch like a visually interesting and visually like expansive kind of movie, an action film with some eye candy in it on the big screen. So I hope that by the time this comes out, we'll be able to do that, because I'm definitely doing that if I can.
Wow, we got through it. I mean, and here's the thing. We have only scratched the surface of what DLC 6, the director's cut, entails. Obviously, we talked a lot about Hemovorous. As the week goes on, there's going to be a lot more conversations. Hopefully, we'll be able to have some people on. Maybe Lazy or Triple G Thick, Moxie, people who can share some insights on how to beat those bosses faster. But I'm also intrigued to see what the actual director's cut portion of the director's cut holds. What new lore we get to find out about, what cool images we can actually bring onto the show now and showcase and discuss. And I'm excited to see what Ava's story holds as well, and what the podcast she does contains. So this is definitely not a one-off. We're gonna have a lot to talk about for probably at least the next month in terms of just the director's cut and beyond.
So
we look forward to bringing that all to you guys.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Seriously, we really, really appreciate you being here and taking the time to sort of go through all this awesome news with us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're listening via Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, YouTube Music, or Stitcher, thank you for watching on YouTube, Facebook, Steam, and Twitch. We're here every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And of course, you can find the podcast usually about a day later on all of those places. You can set up notifications. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. I will be back once we finish up the Bordercast in about a little over an hour. I want to say 5 p.m. Eastern. I will be back doing some gameplay of DLC 6. So if you guys want to check that out, Mayachka playing through the thing will be cool and happening later.
It'll be really cool. So you're going to be right here. I was going to ask, where can the people find you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right here. You can also find me on Twitter at Tess Games, on my own Twitch channel where I stream on Saturdays. And that's about it right now, but mostly Saturdays. It's Tessa, CHKA. And also on Instagram at Tess Games. What about you, Mitsu?
Twitter.com/Mitsu Show, as we talked about earlier. Twitch.tv/Mitsu. And big shout outs to, of course, Twitch.tv/Char. I got to play with, of course, Twitch.tv/BMore12, the letter B, MORE1212, and of course, FB.GG/KingGothalion. It was so good to play with Goth again, too. And I'm so happy that all of them are enjoying the DLC so much, and I can't wait to hopefully do a lot more grinding with them in the future. So you'll probably find me there, too, because I wasn't streaming, but I was certainly hanging out with them while they were. So if you're looking for me, you might be able to find me on one of their channels at some point too. That it? We're good? Do I get to do my thing now?
Yeah. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Yes. All right. We got through it. On behalf of Tess, myself, and the entire content creation team, thank you so much for joining us to do every single week. Now go forth and make some mayhem.